4. Did everyone get a chance to review the... Stop pointing at my...
I'm sorry. I'm just asking questions.
These are all... Those are probably...
I understand that,
okay.
but I'm
all
just
right. Don't make me...
at stuff.
There we go.
That's a good... You can do that I can't look at.
Okay, point away. Everyone get a chance to review the minutes from the last meeting? I have a copy here if anyone needs to look at it. Steve, are you good?
Yes.
All right. Any corrections or additions to the meeting, to the minutes? I think there was one correction that was circulated previously. There was a question about the $7,000 to be added to the revolving fund for the special ed account. So that correction was made. So it is in there now. Thank you for that. No corrections. I'll accept the motion from Steve.
No, so moved.
Thank you very much. Catherine seconds. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. So, moving right along, we'll take a look at the budget as it stands now. I know Liz has made some changes since the last time we were all together, so we'll just let her kind of talk us through whatever we need to know. The top section we had not, so what we're looking at, we're focusing primarily on the green column where it says recommended. That's what we recommend as the FinCom. The sort of pinkish column is Liz's recommendation, and then, so we go along with it. What I did for the first section, since I don't think we typically have any questions at all, I just copied the numbers over. If any of the FinCom has any comments or questions about any of the top insurance premiums or any of that type of thing, we can address that, but otherwise I just copied those numbers over because I really don't think there's much we can do about it anyway. So, is there any comments from either of you?
No, we had reduced the group health one, and so that's reflected on here. We had a higher amount in there when we met last time, but we were able to reduce it.
560 or 70,000, so it's down to 500.
Oh, perfect.
Yes.
Because
Okay.
the county only went up like 1% or 1.5% in the rates.
Okay, I hadn't noticed that. Great, excellent, thank you.
So going down the list here, as far as items that have been changed, I don't see anything here in this first grouping that I've changed.
Okay, so why don't we go through any of these blank spaces that we have not formally sort of made a tentative decision on? Why don't we try to knock those off tonight and see where we wind up at the end of the evening? So Conservation Commission is requesting, they requested $69.30. Liz is recommending $31.50.
That was to take out the additional hours for the clerical help because they already have assistance from Kathy Wright. And in addition to that, if they do bring an agent on board, they would handle some of the database type office functions.
Okay.
So the $31.50 is their requested expenses for all the typical things, advertising and so on and so forth.
Sure.
But minus that additional clerical.
Okay. Any, is that focused? Okay, all right, good. Still blurry to me.
18,720 for agent.
Yeah, Steve, you may not have been here that night.
I was here when they came. Yeah.
Oh, were you? Okay, all right. I knew you had missed one of the nights.
The one right above that?
The $500?
Yeah, did we go higher than town administration for any reason?
It was actually lower than what they had requested. They requested 12. Why did we go to 5?
They requested nothing,
They
actually.
didn't request anything.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're right. I'm sorry. They're 12 this year.
They never turned in a request, so I wasn't sure. I just went with 200 because I looked back and one year it was $541, another year was $22. So I'm not sure if maybe they're running their ads through.
I don't remember why we said
NOI
5, to
escrows.
be honest. I'm fine with 2 if we want to go with 2, or did we say 5 because it was 541 that one year? I honestly
I think
don't
that
remember.
was what I recall.
Yeah.
So whatever you feel comfortable with. I mean, you could always do the 2, and then if they need more, if they're having an influx of filings, they could always approach for a transfer request.
That's fine. Conservation agent has been presented as a warrant article. This is, we had plenty of discussion, I think, that evening. What?
They kept it now in their budget
Oh, they
as a
did.
salary thing, which has its benefits because then at least they would be established in the wage and personnel chart, so they couldn't just pay somebody whatever they wanted. It does present a little more structure to it. So that,
it's in the wage and personnel,
Yes.
and it was prior to this year?
no, we're
It's
adding
new.
it this year,
So
so
they
it's,
vote to add the position. That's
which they already have.
Okay.
So
Where did
it's
that come from?
now,
Right here.
Okay, all right, I must have picked it up thinking this was,
established
You can use it.
No, I'm good, thank you.
and they
30 to 50%
established an
off.
hourly
Fondling it.
range of
Mhm.
30 to 50 per hour.
Okay.
And I believe that this 18,720 number was based on $35 per hour times approximately 10 hours per week, thereabouts. But
Right.
the range that wage and personnel did was 30 to 50 per hour.
Now, did they get any activity did they place an ad earlier? There were, for
No,
some
they
contract work
talked
between now
about
and the end
doing
of the
some
year?
contract work, but nothing's happened with that to my knowledge.
Okay,
But there is no warrant article, so this
so
is
that's
it.
okay,
Huh?
okay. Do we have any strong feelings one way or the other on this, or do we want to table it for further discussion, or?
Sounded like.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it seemed that
Yeah.
evening we were in favor of it.
Yeah,
Okay,
seemed like they needed it.
all right, cool. Next section, one unresolved, is the expenses for the assessors.
So she updated her expense sheet to include the computer program. Remember how their expenses had initially come in super low and we didn't understand what was missing? She had forgot to include that, so she updated it to include their web-based program for all the assessments. So that's why
And it wasn't in there last year?
it was in there last year, but the fee went up that we pay out for that.
$5,000?
Yes, so the fee went up for that, but when the budget initially came in the request line, I think
Right.
it
It's
was,
like 18.
yeah, it was like really tiny.
Yeah, it was under.
Yes, so that's been updated to add that program that they run with all the assessments and that you can access the data online.
Whenever I hear something on the scanner, right into that database.
I don't have a problem with that, do you? You have to have the
It- it just-
evaluation software.
Yeah, it just seems like a large increase for software, that's all. Okay.
Town clerk salary was updated since it will be, a new person beginning. We opted to keep that amount the same and not, how would you really present like a merit increase or anything like that to somebody who hasn't been, we weren't quite sure how to go about that, so the suggestion that was made
So when a
was to
new
keep it
person comes
status
into
quo.
an elected position, they automatically get what the old person was getting?
No, not in all cases, but we weren't sure. That position, if you look back to where it changed from 17 to 18, that, I was told from back then, was to incorporate a bunch of new duties that the state automatically assigned for
Yeah, there were more-
records management.
There were more hours and such involved, yes.
Yes.
Yep.
So the responsibilities shifted dramatically, as did the pay at that time, so, I
Yeah,
don't know, it's kind of a blank
This-
slate as far as I'm concerned. I mean, I don't really have a strong viewpoint one way or the other, but Tara had initially requested, it was the 46,125 plus the cost of living adjustment, a 2 1/4 increase. So after working with Barbara on that today, we went
Just
and
left
took
it.
that out and just left it as is, but. And we also took out the $1,000 because there's nobody who's certified that's running.
It takes 3 years to get certified, so it'll be a while before that comes back.
Yes, so that's been removed.
Just just my own thoughts.
Go
I
ahead.
just don't see how a new person can come in, they're not gonna have the knowledge that Tara had, and I don't see why they should come in at the same rate that we were paying her last year. If anything, I think we should go back to FY18 at least. I mean, I don't know.
I tend to agree with that.
That's not,
we
that's
just didn't
fine.
wanna
We
take a
didn't know
job.
what to
We
do.
didn't know what
to
Really,
do, so
we're kinda
we
like,
left it.
okay.
We left it where it was for you to make your
For
decision.
you to make a
Because-
decision.
Because actually, when they come in, they may be doing less work, because there's gonna be quite a
Right,
time
and
of
there
year.
were, there were
Huge
certain
learning curve.
projects that Tara had taken on,
Yeah.
such as like helping with the website. And
right, but the
and
person
all
may not
the
be able to do that
bylaw
probably, because there'll be so much
codification
stuff
that
to
now
do.
I understand is being
It's turned
transitioned to
back to
bylaw review, it's getting turned
It's
over.
getting turned over so that we can.
So I don't know, I just think.
So,
we should
yeah,
have
so
some-
town clerk
a negotiated salary, is that what
No,
No, it's an elected position that you can
Oh,
vote
you
in.
can't start that high. You can't.
no, you can vote anything
You
you
can go
want.
anywhere, we just didn't
I
wanna
didn't,
make
yeah,
the
we
di-
didn't wanna
kinda didn't
overstep,
where we were all the time.
Yeah. yeah. It's not our decision to make.
It's not actually.
What, are you looking at the range?
Yeah, I'm trying to. Where is it?
There is
It's not
no
in the
range.
wage and personnel.
No,
No.
no, it's not a wage and personnel
Oh, it's
position,
elected.
it's an elected position.
Gotcha.
It can't be governed by
I
a
mean, what
contract
was
or anything else.
FY18 was just an even number, so maybe that's best.
Still too high?
How many hours a week?
22 on average, but sometimes it's busier than others.
When I went to Tara and asked her, so I could figure out what she was making so we could play with adjustment this year, she told me a lot of weeks she works 30, in fairness to her.
Right.
She works what?
30 hours.
Between 22 and 30, I would say, but it could be more than 30 on a super busy time like an election.
It probably is like 22, 25 when it's quiet, but then at election.
Maybe
time,
30
it's
or
probably
35.
Pretty
40.
demanding at times, yeah.
It's like us.
So what does that come out to hourly? At
At 22,
30.
it's about $39 an hour at 45,000.
Higher than the treasurer.
how much does she make hourly? She does
If it's
37.
if it's 30 hours per week, it would be $28.85 hourly. But I mean,
I
That's
agree
at the,
with the,
that's at 45, Nate?
that's using 45 even, yes. So the office is open 22 hours?
the office is open for business 22 hours per week. It's open from 9 to 2 Monday through Thursday and 5 to 7 on Monday
Then we
evening.
should base it on 22 hours, right? I mean, I know
Well, that
people work
doesn't-
But
extra.
doesn't
that
include the
elections,
additional-
town meetings and those
I-
type
I-
of things,
Yeah.
that
I
maybe we gotta
understand.
add.
Right, you
More.
didn't, yeah, add
So
add a
maybe
few of those
consider
in.
25. 25 might be a safer number to utilize.
3 hours a week.
34.62.
That's 150 hours more, so.
Times
that's-
what rate? 25 hours? What
No,
rate?
34.62 per hour
Oh.
times 25 hours for 52 weeks would equal 45,000.
I'd like to see it come down a little and then have the person come to us the following year and justify,
That would be,
you know?
it's your decision to
I
make,
know.
so we didn't wanna really
We shouldn't be
overstep.
wage and personnel people though.
No, I know.
$32 an hour would bring it up to around 42,000 at 25 hours a week.
Okay, that sounds good.
32,000. I mean, yeah,
So
42,000.
Okay, I'll
Sold.
make that change on my-
Good?
Do
Everybody
I-
else?
Do I have any other bids? That would be $32.30 an hour at 25 hours a week.
Okay.
So moved.
Then the,
So are you gonna plug a number in?
She did.
She did.
Oh, okay.
You did.
Then this number here for the support staff was reduced because obviously a new assistant clerk coming in would fall under wage and personnel and would start at the bottom rate.
Mm-hmm.
So that was to factor in that person working 20 hours per week, which is the current hours, at the base rate in wage and personnel. Plus, we did factor in approximately $3,000 extra to cover. There were 3 conferences during the year, spring, winter, and fall, that the person attends. And then it ends up being like extra hours that they're working
Compensated
for. Also to cover the election, to cover counting and doing registration of voters.
In town
And
meeting.
Tara had helped, in town meeting, and Tara had helped kind of itemize that. So we went back and we took the base hourly rate for the
What
assistant.
is the base hourly rate?
As of July 1st, that base rate is going to
Is it
be
2041?
Assistant town
20
clerk, 2087.
2087.
That's 2020.
For starting
2087.
July 1st, it'll be 2087. So we went with just the base and then added extra to cover for registering voters and things like that.
I thought that portion of it was on the election and I thought I thought the support staff line was strictly the 22 hours. The other duties were captured
Well, it was
under
election.
195 and
So
197.
the election support staff one is for the people who come in very part-time to work at the
Mhm.
election. They all make somewhere in the range of 15 to 16 per hour based on this. Those extra, the 3,000 extra that we put into the
Support.
line 188 was specifically for that individual to attend conferences. Say it's an 8-hour conference and normally here they'd only be getting paid for a 5-hour workday. It's to account for the 3 extra hours.
I thought you said $3,000.
We
In total,
did,
but it's
in
multiple
total, but it's
times.
multiple events during the year that they're working more than the 20 hours budgeted.
And it has to all be put in, stated
But
and
if you
certified
want-
by the department.
If you like, so
Doesn't
let
mean
me
they have to
just
spell
do
it, it's not, spend it all, it's not a, it's not a salary.
20 times 52.
52.2.
The salary base for that line would be $21,790. And we went with 25 to make sure that there was enough in there. I'm sure that could be reduced a little bit if you didn't want to leave a lot of extra kind of fluff in there.
Well, my opinion on this, in case anyone wants to hear it, is that where I thought the other line should be lower, I could see how this line might need to be a little bit higher, because the clerk's not gonna, she's gonna need more help, because she's gonna come in and there's gonna be such a learning curve that it's gonna take longer to get everything done. And I can see how she might need to use her clerical staff more to get.
So for the assistant, the 25 incorporates the base salary, which is $21,790, plus an additional $32,10 to cover the miscellaneous.
$2,000.
Do you want to change that to like $2,000 to cover the miscellaneous?
How did you get the 21,790? 20 hours a week?
$20.87 per hour times 20 hours a week
Oh, okay.
times 52.2 weeks.
So the assistant's only here 20 hours, not
Yes,
22?
only 20.
There may, and if I may, there may be weeks if the town clerk cannot be here on a Monday night, if she's
That
on
they'd work an
vacation,
extra
that
2
the
hours
person
a
would have to
week.
work those hours and whatnot too. We just wanted to put enough in to cover them if it was needed. It's not a salary, it's paid by the time she's there, so.
Okay. I say we go with it.
Yep.
And then if we have to shave a couple of bucks here and there, maybe we revisit it, but I don't see any reason to.
Okay.
Expenses, 8% increase, must be.
We had gone over those, I believe, at a prior one. Tara had itemized absolutely everything
Yeah,
under the sun, and I
Yep.
do have all that backup paperwork. I can email that to you.
Yep.
The election is less because it's not,
An election,
yeah,
Right.
so it's less.
the only election we have is the town one.
Okay.
Um, Okay, so moving down.
So the difference here is the treasurer's salary.
Yes, so I went back today and adjusted for the 4 1/4. So for the 2% merit plus 2 1/4,
Reverse, do
Um,
it, oh, okay.
plus the 2 1/4 COLA. Before, when we had done it, the selectmen had said, oh, put in just for the 2 1/4 COLA and wait, because she's a negotiated contract, but they have commenced negotiations. So they said to go back and add the 2% merit that a lot of other folks are getting. So I changed my number here.
And wage and personnel stayed at 2 1/4.
They
I
stayed
know
at,
they were asked.
they re-voted and they stayed at the 2
2
1/4.
1/4 and 2, yeah.
And she also works 22 hours?
No, she works 30 plus.
Okay.
All right. But she said, that's not for Board of Health.
Oh no,
we're
treasurer
talking
collector.
about the treasurer's office,
All right, treasurer collector.
yeah. She has
but-
one person in there, plus Colleen
Colleen, yeah.
and Christine.
Yeah.
That's Christine's.
Oh, that's Christine's.
Oh, no,
The
that's
certification
63.
is for Christine.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
63 is for Colleen.
Colleen.
Yeah,
But she also works at the,
She works at
So that's-
Highway,
Yeah,
but that's
that's
not
done-
here.
that's
not
done
bad.
on a wage and
So that's
personnel rate.
41.28 per
Yeah.
hour, just so
understood.
continue that previous discussion that we were having. So I don't,
How many hours did you use to compute that, Nate?
30.
Okay.
I didn't change anything else there from when we last met.
Okay. And how many hours does she work at the highway?
11.
Yeah. And Highway does that out of their budget.
Mhm.
She's
No, it's out of the transfer station budget.
well,
not highway.
but it's all Highway under here. All
It's
Scott
two
Ripley's
separate
budget.
Yeah, but it's two separate.
Right,
budgets,
but
yeah.
I just meant the Highway
Yeah,
Department
as a whole.
budgets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's transfer station.
Yeah.
Okay, so these next two are ones that,
Well, you-
the
Yes.
supply line is new, and you were trying to get a handle on toilet paper.
Yes. So it's the toilet paper, the paper towels, all of that. In addition to that, it also covers like the trash removal, the water deliveries for COA, anything that we can reasonably anticipate or estimate. I did as the supplies, kind of like an ongoing maintenance type line.
Mm-hmm.
And then as far as town buildings, I can send you a breakdown on that if you'd like, but I sat down with Steve Sorrow and we kind of went through. So this would be, for the town buildings one would be for like smaller scale things that might come up that we don't.
Like a repair type of thing.
A
or
repair,
maintenance.
exactly,
Yeah.
not
Maintenance things.
something that would necessitate going back to that building maintenance article, which is for more, in my mind anyway, and you can correct me if I'm off base, but for more like larger scale emergency issues, something major that happens. So I thought that seemed like a reasonable breakdown, at least for the first time trying to kind of estimate this. I'm running into a lot of unknowns with this, and then also with the utilities line, because I found out we're paying the leases for some other departments' copy machines, and it was very kind of convoluted as far as who was paying for what. Same thing with Comcast, although we were able to nip some of that in the bud for some other departments, but it's trying to kind of get a handle on these things that I think in the past were, some stuff was mixed together where I don't think it necessarily should have been, and then in other cases you had departments kind of off on their own, like paying for stuff when it might not have been the best way to go about it. So
So if we combine those two lines, it's $9,800, and then we add in the custodian of $23,000. You're looking at $33,000, which is basically.
this would be though the supplies and everything for all the town buildings. So this is like the ordering and all the stuff that would take place for all of them.
Yeah, I'm just trying to compare apples to apples, going back to like fiscal 17 here. We had 17.6, and we broke out this custodian, and now we're at 33,000. You know. couple of years
So
later.
those though, those do not include transfer requests, right? Or do they? The
Yes,
prior numbers?
18 is actual.
Okay.
The 18 here is actually what was spent.
So I don't know then if maybe certain things were getting paid maybe out of that building maintenance article. Or maybe just from what we're looking at, it's been kind of a
Buried in
tumultuous
somebody's
little go of it as far as things breaking and whatnot.
Right.
Do you want to try to reduce that maybe, and we could come for
No,
a
I just-
transfer request?
I just think we need to just kind of, keep an eye on it going
Okay.
forward. Now that we've sort of split it out, maybe we'll have better data, I don't know.
Well, the
Well, I guess-
custodial went up a lot.
Custodial went up a lot, and it has gone up a lot in the last,
couple of years.
yeah.
Yeah,
I
his
mean,
hours-
it's
his
doubled in
hours-
2 years.
Well, his hours have
His hours have
doubled in 2 years too.
right, because he took on the other buildings. But if you'd like to reduce those and do kind of a wait and see thing, I'm happy to do that and keep you posted, and then you can
Well,
always
let's
come
see
for a
how
transfer.
what the-
Well, yeah,
bottom
again,
line
well, I
looks
think
like.
we're gonna, we'll go with it for now, and then, when we see what the scary bottom number is, we may have to go back and say, sorry, bring your own toilet paper. That was a joke, people of the
It
town.
used to be in a packet in your C rations.
Okay.
Okay, health support staff, we had already discussed, we're looking at health expenses, $48.95, which is the same that they had budgeted for this year, so did they not request?
They requested the same amount
Okay,
and itemized it.
any argument? Highway, I think we already went over,
Yeah, I didn't change anything in there.
okay.
I'm not sure if I changed anything down below Public Works. Oh, you had left administrative assistant.
The building department.
Because we kind of wanted to figure out exactly how her hours are being broken down, I think was our question.
Okay.
The tree warden's salary.
Why- oh,
They
Oh,
what's
used to
it?
because
like
he never puts in for an increase, and I think this
Okay.
group had said
We always give them
he
the
should be
increase.
putting in
Okay.
for.
Yeah, the 2.25% anyway.
Yes, that's
He-
what that
he
was.
does. He and the veterans agent half the time just submit it and don't put the.
And then I
increases
stole
in.
$12 back under the expenses, so shh.
He's also salaried, elected position.
Yeah.
Caught me and my wife walking over the sand pit.
Do you want me to prepare a breakdown for line 405 and send it to you, and we just hold that one for now?
I mean, I don't think we're questioning it necessarily. I think we just kind of want to see where it's being spent. That's all. Because
It
it
was-
feels like that one person's servicing 5 or 8 different departments, and we just kind of want to
She
make.
kind of is.
Yeah, no, I know. But
Anyway.
we've
Right.
we've taken 1,000 from here and 2,000 from here and 15,000 from here and amalgamated it all into this one line. And I think we
Right.
just kind of want to see where,
This
if
does,
it makes sense.
Line 405, though, in full disclosure, and we talked about it a little bit last time, does include a merit-based adjustment that exceeds what the other people are getting. It exceeds the 4 1/4. We were boosting her up. I would have to go back and look at my notes. I think it's $1.04 per hour or something like.
Yes.
Was it
the
$1.60?
No, it was the regular plus 60 cents.
Regular plus 60 cents. Okay,
I believe
so
that's what it
she's-
was. She's in the middle of the range, so it's gonna be
She's in the middle of the
impossible to
range,
tell
and then we
without
gave
looking.
her, so she's, this number in here incorporates the 2% merit plus the 2 1/4 COLA, and then the selectmen had wanted to see about actually increasing that hourly rate by 60 cents per hour to
Within
give
the
her
range.
kind of a little bonus for all the extra stuff she's been doing, and to be paying her. She does take on
She's getting
duties.
more hours though, right? Isn't?
She's at 30 hours
No,
now.
but she was at 24, and we just added 5 recently.
She was at 26 and you
Added
added
four.
4.
Okay.
So now this is 30 hours per week, at her hourly rate plus the 4 1/4, and then what that number comes out to, which is mid-range, we added 60 cents. So she's still not at the top of her range.
I understand. I guess
boosted
my
her up.
point is we've already rewarded her with more pay and more hours for doing a good job. So do we
Right.
need to continue to reward her, and does that set a bad precedent?
I mean, that's obviously subject for
I mean, you know,
debate and
it's-
discussion, certainly, and that's your, you know, you're well within your right and purview if you have a problem with the additional, the 60 cents.
Go ahead. I know it's like $100 a year. I get it.
No, I don't, no, it's not,
No, and you do raise a good point. I think from my perspective anyway, and I can't speak for the Board of Selectmen, but I don't want to get into a situation where individual employees
That's
feel
the
like they're getting
problem.
special treatment. Like, it does put me in a little bit of a weird spot too. Not so much right now, but coming down the line, once other people become aware of this, it may raise some questions. And it was not me who initially proposed it. I'm trying to kind of defend what, you know, the message I received down the pipeline.
I understand that. I think I've been consistently leery of setting precedents across
Right,
the
and I
board.
am too, because I don't want to see things that make my job more difficult down the line if it causes a contentious situation here where other people say, well, what about me?
Yeah.
I'm doing a good job too.
Right.
So I don't know how we want to handle this.
I thought that's what the merit increase was for, and I thought it's for, they should be able to reach the top of their level by 5
It's-
years.
It
and-
still takes a while to get up there though. Sometimes
5 years,
it's
we
longer.
said, didn't we?
But they asked because she's consistently taking on more and more and more than the other people
I
within
mean,
the
she was basically
department.
training a new
Understand.
inspector
She's
and
been
doing things that are
doing
kind of above and beyond what a
beyond-
clerical person
She's doing
is
what
doing.
inspectors are doing to try to help and get things done. And then conservation has been bombarding her with even more stuff. And it's to try to just move it up so it did a little better than that. She's extremely good at what she does.
She is. She's incredibly helpful, and she doesn't say no to anybody as far as, even with the stuff that's a little outside the realm of what you would think she'd be doing. But if you'd like, I can get you the numbers for what it would be without the 60-cent raise.
$34,190.
Oh, okay. You're one step ahead.
So it's about $1,000 at the end of the day.
It's really hard to get good help.
It is.
That's what
it
I mean.
is-
I
it
wouldn't
is-
want her to-
It is for the position downstairs. We've been through a lot of changes. She's extremely
You can
good.
wear a lot of different hats and deal with a lot of
Different regulations from the zoning to the conservation to the planning board. She's going through multiple things and keeping it all straight and turning all the financial stuff into the town in great time and order. That's all I can say is she's really good at what she does. It's up to you guys to decide.
So what are you looking at me for?
I mean, the selectmen are initiating it. If somebody else comes looking for a big raise,
Yeah,
we say,
that's what-
talk to the selectmen.
Exactly. Send it back.
I don't know.
What do you think?
I think sticking that extra 60 cents is a bad precedent. As much as, you know, somebody may be doing a great job. I mean, what about the rest of the employees?
Well, that does worry me.
Because you're
on
implying that they're
flip
not
side of
doing a
it.
good job.
No, they're
that
doing a
they're
great
not,
job,
but
but
it's
she's
some-
just taken on so much extra than when she started, that's all.
She's
Right.
going above and beyond.
And again, we gave her 4 more hours of salary to accomplish that she wasn't getting last year.
What percent is 60 cents of what she's making? No, I'm just wondering what
Right.
percentage more we're giving her above the 4 1/4%.
Okay, master over there of the,
Come on, Nate, you can figure that out.
of the little,
Do you even need the calculator?
You needed
He just
cookies
pushes the
tonight.
button, just
Thanks,
pretend.
I didn't even.
I'm just curious what kind of percentage
How many hours a
increase
week
it
does
is.
she work?
30.
30. $18 a week times 52 weeks. compared to the total salary.
It's
That's what you do.
$21.92 an hour, does that sound right?
Yeah,
about that.
2194, I thought it was.
2.73%.
In addition to the 4 1/4.
60 cents would be 2.73%.
So 2.73
amount.
plus 4 1/4.
Right, so in
Right.
other words, 7% increase.
Right.
Yes,
Yeah,
That's- that's
that sounds-
accurate.
Yeah, that sounds right.
from what I had in my notes.
I can't support that. Sorry.
Okay.
Nobody in the real world is getting 7%. Nobody in the real world is getting 4 1/4. I've said that for weeks too.
I know.
But
Well, if you include the team award, oh, wait a second.
okay.
Do
Can
we
we
want to
put
go
it to a
in between
vote?
there, or do we just want to go at 4 1/4?
The 4 1/4 would be what did I say? 34,190. right?
34,190.
That's consistent with how everybody else in the town is being treated.
Yeah, I think it's important.
Then I won't have at least a problem down the line as far as somebody thinking
Yeah.
that someone got preferential treatment. So,
Which of course, yeah.
I agree.
I mean, it is what it is.
And that's the reason
She
it was
can always
set up
be
the way
hired
it
on as a
was.
consultant for an extra $1,500 because we've set that precedent.
No, we didn't. Town did it, town meeting.
Okay. Okay.
Department expenses, $1,000 sold. Fire chief. We don't have any say on that.
Nope.
No,
Fire building utilities is new.
no,
Yeah,
none
the-
of the fire ones have been done, so
Oh.
he's going down the line, firing.
Well, I mean, we talked about them
Yeah,
all.
we
Do we
already
have
talked
any
about all of
discussions on any of these? I mean, I think we kind of hashed them all out.
Yeah. I like your number
That was
better.
nice, huh? Somehow
I
I
don't wanna
might have had to
drive
explain that
you
one.
guys, be good to me.
This is gonna be fun, total.
Well, it's
Well,
actually only
it's
2.4 above, so
And
that's
it's actually,
terrible,
if you
you
took
know?
out the increase in the fire chief's salary, it's
right.
nothing.
It's
going
nothing.
down.
Yeah, it's very
Yeah,
true.
in the fire chief's salary, that's kind of misleading because the 80,000 is not what the new chief got anyway.
Right.
Right.
So that's kind of a misleading
You gotta look at the
percentage.
FY 18
Yeah, you gotta go
actual.
back to 18 and then the 18 represents what the prior chief, the 80 represents what the prior chief would have gotten as an increase from 77 to 80. And then we had to work on the other when the new chief started later in the year. And the old chief was gone.
Police.
So I changed the chief's salary item, and we could probably reduce that even a little bit further. So Pat is retiring, basically effective June 30th, but he may stay on for the month of July until we can get some sort of a transition in place. So obviously somebody coming in is not going to earn what he was making. So that could probably, I went and reduced it to 106, but I mean, if you wanted to reduce it maybe to 100 even, just so that we have a little bit of wiggle room and kind of go from there. I think that that might make sense.
Do we have any idea of what a comparable chief would be earning?
Probably right around 100.
Okay.
But it depends somewhat on what kind of arrangement we end up going with. There was talk about potentially bringing in a retired chief for a while to kind of stabilize things there and help with the transition and getting everybody up and running in the new building. So that person would maybe be earning a little bit less, and then if we bring somebody in, you know, completely new full-time, I would say that we'd probably be looking at about 100 even, which is what we brought the new fire chief in at back when he was hired.
Okay. That all makes sense. The police department line, you knocked off $200. Do you remember what that was?
No, did I? We had played with these numbers, I thought, when we separated out utilities, was
Utilities?
it?
Yeah.
But $200 seems like a funny
Why did
number to pull out.
I don't know
We
why I
couldn't
would have
find
done
We
that.
don't know why.
Unless I just typed it in wrong.
We couldn't
Mine
find it.
is more than what was initially requested.
No.
No.
Less.
Yours is 200 less.
Oh, I'm
84,
sorry,
9,
200 less.
85, 1.
Okay.
So let's just put the 111 in.
Yeah.
And see where.
There
let's
might
see
have
where we
been
are
a
at the bottom.
reason for that. I think we may have moved something with the utilities. I think we can go with the 84,911.
Okay.
That's too odd of a number for something to have just been
There was a
transposed.
reason.
There must have been a
Yes,
discussion.
something.
Right.
Yeah, you and I had one, but I don't
And utilities are
remember
kind of our
if we
best guess at what it's going to be.
Yeah.
We don't
Yeah,
obviously
that
don't have
came
data
from
yet.
the
So.
engineer
Yep.
for the building,
Yep.
so.
And vehicles is just a 2% increase. So I don't.
And then I didn't change anything else.
The veterans agent,
Yep.
I had done that. That needs to be the 2 1/4 because that's wage and personnel. I don't know if it's
She
right.
got it.
87.65. Okay,
Yeah.
it's okay.
Yep.
All right. Oh, she's got the 43 and we fixed it.
Yes.
Okay.
I didn't put in anything new
Yeah.
down here.
Well.
Okay. That's your responsibility. We
I'm
staying
gonna
out of that
call
one.
Gorilla.
We stay out of that one.
Well, let's start with the easy one. The vocab probably is. I mean, it's not an increase,
We like that.
and we're going to probably get some back according to them, right? So we'll take that one. Okay, Marilyn. Next one's yours.
Okay.
Special ed?
Well, special ed, we know.
You don't have a choice.
We
Yeah, we don't.
Special
Right,
ed,
exactly.
so
Special
that
ed, we don't have a choice.
That's
So.
an unfunded state mandate.
That's right.
So then that brings us to the general elementary school costs. I mean, I don't remember anything being really out of line when they made their
Nothing was
presentation.
out of line with the local.
Yeah.
No, it's true.
I think they said they had some more retirements,
Yep.
which means they bring in new people in the horse
And the regional, a lot of that was state. The
I
state
know.
changing the formula in our minimum contribution required
Went up,
went up significantly.
yes.
So we're.
It did. We also had discovered a lot of things in it looked like step increases that are kind of built into their contracts.
So, yeah,
There.
there's some good ones built into the contracts.
Yeah, some are along the lines of like 9 or 10%.
Regular step increases?
Mm-hmm.
Or is that step increase
Oh,
with,
in the
with
chart,
education?
Education.
No,
no.
even say if you were, an individual with a master's degree, I can send you the math on it. Say you had a certain level of education, you move from, I don't know, a step 8 to a step 9 year to year. I mean, some of that might be like, in some cases we
6.5%.
found like 6.5%, some
Wow.
we found
I would like to,
8.06%.
I would be interested in seeing that.
I have
That's
it all
the
in
that
PDF.
contract is
I'll
a-
send you the email tonight. So
Yeah,
I
that-
think you might be.
You-
It's interesting to follow.
Send them the other page too.
But there's not much we can do about it right now, but it would be something I'd like to have talk
Yeah,
about.
there's one for an athletic director that's like a 20% increase.
From last year. With the
Is it a new
step,
person?
with the step, it's 1, 2, and 3, and a person goes from 2 to 3, and it's 20%.
Wow.
I mean, it's not a lot of money, but.
It's a big percentage.
Mm-hmm.
Aren't directors usually salary?
Well, it's a stipend that's probably going to somebody else that's on another job.
So there's our final number. 11,352.
No,
Oh, we went up again on the reserve fund? I
Well,
like
because
that.
again, we indexed
That's
it.
fine. I don't have a problem.
So we
I
make-
just-
we-
I hadn't seen it, that's all.
We
I
made.
just-
Well, we didn't know it until just now.
Yeah.
So we made it a percentage, and we can certainly change that.
No,
but,
I don't
But we
think-
just, we decided last year that it might be a good practice
Just have a
to,
It
percent
is,
of
and I
the
mean,
total
look at,
budget.
and not only that, but look at what's happened this year
Right.
with the different things that have been a
Right.
problem, and we're still looking at possible other, you know, small departments that need money.
So are these numbers in yellow, the actual
yes, that's the,
target revenue,
that's the number that Barbara gave us.
And
That
you're
would be,
under it,
the budget, and we're under
But-
by $107,000.
but you may
but that
have a
includes
few
no warrant
no
articles
warrant
yet.
articles.
Oh, I thought I saw warrant capital, I thought that was warrant.
That's,
Warren
It
RNA.
says raise and appropriate, nothing in there.
yeah, so we haven't included any,
So we should look at the warrant.
Oh, boy.
Do you want me, when we go next door, to try to bring this up on my computer on the big screen in the meeting room, or is that
Sure.
not?
yeah,
I don't know if that's helpful or not.
yeah,
Do you
absolutely.
want me
It
to-
doesn't always
Is it
work.
updated with our numbers? for what
Yes.
must be on it?
It should.
This is our online one, right?
Yep, it should have just
So
linked.
it should.
Yep.
That's great.
Sometimes
guys.
I can't get it to work right, so.
Okay.
Well,
We'll
I can
see.
I can always bring this one in and we can just plug it in. So warrant articles, I don't know if.
Can I ask one other question?
sure.
Is that something we normally take from capital that's in this budget? Is that included in the budget still, or isn't there something debt or something?
Yeah, the police station debt, the 270,000 will come out of capital stabilization.
So that budget should be lower by 270,000.
By 270, yeah. Yep.
Yeah. That has to stay there, but what's the 352 would be reduced, so you've got
Okay,
more
so we're
gap.
actually at 377
Yeah.
extra. Okay, so what's the warrant articles?
So warrant articles, and I don't know if I've got them all captured yet. I tried to enter them as we had discussed as we went along, and then I looked at Liz's draft warrant and tried to grab any that I thought I missed. So this is, I think, what we have so far. And please, let me.
752,903?
That's total.
That's missing the audit article, and I don't remember what that, do you know what that was last year?
It was 30 something like that?
Yeah,
Or
it's
32 or something like that?
32 or 34, I can't remember which off the top of my head. Stick 35,000 in there for a play figure for now, and
Okay.
we'll get a better one for later, please.
So for annual town, it's 730,903.
So the road construction, the highway one,
Mhm.
we don't think it's gonna be 250 this year. What would,
200 max.
200 max on the highway one?
Okay,
The fire lease is
is what it is.
what it is.
So the highway department truck.
Oh, yeah. All right, we're doing the lease first.
Oh, sorry, I was just going in order here. So there's a highway department truck lease.
Yeah, the 68,000.
Fire department?
No, that's that fire
That's
and
fire.
highway needs a dump truck.
Oh, yeah,
Because
he
theirs
needs one too.
failed and is rotting out.
Yeah.
So that's
One is
not on
six-
there yet.
That's
That's another 64,000.
That's what happens
64
when
is a
you
good
house-
So what
estimate.
article is that?
Article 8.
Yep.
And we can
Oh, okay.
refine that number soon.
Give me a pencil there. Right there in the middle.
And then, let's see, that's.
Over one more minute.
CPC.
Hi.
The
We're gonna hold till
conservation,
you guys come in.
Oh, okay, sorry.
the conservation agent can be removed.
Conservation agent can be
removed
deleted.
because it's in the budget.
Yep.
Let me see here. Board of Assessors.
Yeah,
So
they-
the Dennett School Playground, they're actually doing through CPC.
Part of it,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
Yeah,
do
but-
you need
That doesn't
some
need
of
to-
that, do you need, I don't think you need that there.
No.
If those
Well,
funds are already,
Some
you
of
might
it's-
want it for
Some of it's coming
reference.
from here, right?
Some of it's coming, no, none of it
none
will
of it.
come,
No.
it'll come from CPC.
Okay.
It's all CPC, but then some is,
Undesignated fund balance.
yep, and
No,
some from
not-
budgeted reserve.
They're undesignated fund, the CPC's
Not the
undesignated,
town.
not the town.
So
not-
that shouldn't be on there then.
No.
So should we go meet with the Board of Selectmen now, because
Yeah,
we can discuss
maybe.
warrant articles, we can come back from meeting with
Yeah.
them and discuss warrant articles, I don't wanna hold them up.
You want me to go with you and?
Sure, come on, and have fun. So we'll adjourn, and we're gonna go next door.
Motion to move.
38,
6:30.
6:38, excuse me, see? I know, look at that, huh?
Well, it never got changed back here either.
Ooh, setting wheels, that's
I know.
impressive.
But nothing's happening.
There you go.
Set time zone automatically, look at that, it's,
It just
Yeah.
doesn't know what the heck.
all right, I'll fiddle with that later. Okay. So back to warrant articles. Road construction, Article 9 was nothing we have to worry about. Article 10, that's interesting. The playground's actually 200,000.
Yeah.
So Article 5 is the financial audits. Nate, if you want to put that number.
Okay, thank you. And
Article 7 is the roads.
Yep.
First payment on a truck on a lease. It does not say, oh, that's highway.
That's the highway, so that's
the
number-
highway dump.
number
Yeah.
7,
We wrote
or
them
number 8 rather,
to
sorry.
do leases because they're expensive vehicles. and
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
we
no, I
can do
think
4
we should
years
definitely
or
do
5 years
leases.
and it's much
Okay.
easier.
Especially when you're that much over budget right now.
So 13 and 14, the interim year, didn't we do those as specials in the past? Haven't we done those as specials? Because it's a small amount of money relatively.
The 13 and 14, we didn't do them as specials. They were done in the annual meeting,
Okay.
exactly the way they are there. And we took it out of raise and appropriate, so
Okay.
it can't go out of capital. It doesn't qualify for that type of thing, so.
You're gonna need a fortune for the bylaws. I mean, going into the warrant this year, it's gonna be huge. Right? All the warrant, and the bylaws, all this
All the
lot,
time.
yeah. I mean,
We'll be
it's
there for a
gonna
while.
be expensive too, but also printing is gonna be
What did you say?
expensive.
Oh, you
Well,
mean
lots
printing
of
the
pages.
Oh, pages.
Just like,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
I thought you were
Yeah.
saying there was gonna be an article for
No,
cost
no.
associated with the mail. In
No.
my head, it just gone that way, sorry.
And then postage will be good too.
Well, you can get a reserve fund transfer.
We had to last year.
Yeah.
What is this placeholder article, Board of Assessors?
What number?
Right here.
It's just between 14 and 15.
Oh, the 14 and,
That's your favorite consultant.
Oh, yeah.
the consultant, that's the 1,500 for hiring the current consultant back
Probably
again
shouldn't
for
speak
another
in the
year to
microphone when I say
find
that,
properties. and whatnot. That's what that is. Because they didn't, we knew for sure they were doing the other two. Liz didn't know for sure, so we put it back in just to hold the place if necessary, to do it again.
So does that need to be up there? Or we don't know yet?
Yeah, it needs to be up there because they'll want it. I'm sure they will.
Because it's not in the regular budget now?
No.
No, that's
Okay.
not in the regular budget.
So Nate, even though you may hate typing it, would you type
Placeholder.
Placeholder.
consultant?
PH.
Yeah.
Board of Assessor consultant?
Yeah,
Designated debit.
be nice.
Okay.
Bylaws.
That one cracked me up.
Okay, raise and appropriate
Which one?
recreational funds affected.
I think it could have been worded a little differently.
I think that's what he means.
No.
What is Article 23?
Article
21?
21, with
Yes.
the tail end of it, yeah, I agree.
Might want to change the wording on that one. Okay.
I love that.
Is 23 a money article?
23.
Atwood, Two Brooks Preserve. I don't know.
It says raise and
I haven't
appropriate.
heard much about that one, but I believe this
Yeah.
open space land, that's that $30,000 there.
So you think that's that?
I do,
Okay, so
but
it's
I'm not
already there.
sure.
So
Maybe 30,000?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Well, no, 11 is.
open space is 11.
Yeah, 11's a different article, different.
Oh, that's the. I haven't seen this.
It says areas important to preserving groundwater,
Yeah,
community
but
wells and
that's
aquifers.
CPC. That 30,000 there for Article 11 is coming from community preservation.
So we don't,
take
so we
that
can
30,000
So that,
strike that, okay.
Like the 90-foot, like the
Schools.
school playground one, that can go to CPC. That's why I thought it was the same
Okay.
30,000.
All right.
But it looks like they want 30,000.
Okay, so we need to question Article 23.
So where it's coming
If we
from.
put 23 down there, then
Yep.
we'll remember to do
Yep.
it.
What are we calling it?
Open Space Committee.
Yeah, put Atwood, Twin Brooks. Or Two
Two
Brooks, sorry.
Preserve.
Keep saying twin, I don't know why.
Penalty clause?
Yeah, there's something about
If we didn't,
they didn't do enough money or something, so. I just heard that today though, so I don't really know what
didn't sell the land
We
quick
have the
enough.
police lease on
Yeah, it's money line,
13,000.
that. Yep.
Yeah, so they must
Number
have no
24.
Must be an
interest on
interest,
the bond.
yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Okay, 24, 25, we've got that one in there.
Yeah, the
20,
40, that, yeah, that
27
usually
you
comes
got
from
in there?
capital.
27 I did not put in there.
No.
18 says fiber optics cabling,
Yeah, that's gotta be the same
but
thing.
what's Article 25?
It's gonna-
Oh, no, number 26 says
It's
fiber
fiber
optics for the Plympton Library.
And a whole bunch of, yeah, for the whole town.
So what's 18? Oh, 18 is zoning bylaws, watershed.
Oh, did I
so
just-
So it's just the wrong
It's
number.
just the
Okay.
wrong number.
Well, I had 18 on the brain because it's 18,000, I guess.
Oh, okay, so that's really Article
26.
26.
Okay. All right, my bad.
No, that's fine. These things change and get moved around all the time, so it's hard to keep track
Fiber optics,
sometimes.
they want some company to bring fiber optics down.
Raise and appropriate.
There is apparently one that runs through the town.
Mm.
What about 29? Town will vote to raise, appropriate,
Yep.
purchase new protective equipment.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it's up there, we just
Fire.
need a number.
Yeah.
It's up there, unnumbered.
But the number's different. We
Equipment.
said 30, 50, yeah, 36.
15.
It's only 15 anyway.
Yep.
We changed it.
Oh, okay.
We have the command vehicle in there.
What's 30? To see if the town will vote to
30
raise and
is the
That's-
68,000, the fire vehicle, Article 30.
Medical
It's-
director.
But it's gonna be a
Okay.
lease purchase, right?
Yeah,
Oh,
Instead of
so that'll go
purchase,
down
purchase.
Yeah.
from that amount.
yeah.
And 31 is on the other doors, yeah.
The 280,000 is there.
Now, see, 32,
Yeah, I was just gonna say what it was 32.
Yeah, we don't have a number.
all of his individual stuff I put up here under special because I thought we were going to have some money to play with under special.
That's fine.
Isn't that what 32 is referring to, though?
Mhm,
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay, so
We don't need 32 at the
I
bottom.
think we'll eliminate 32 then. for these
33?
purposes.
Do we have that down at the bottom?
Bylaw
Bylaw
codification,
codification.
nope.
What's wrong? Is the Council on Aging van broken?
No, they want a second one.
They want a second one, but the selectmen, well,
But that's
if they put an
step
article in,
one is to
it'll
get,
be
anyway.
written to,
It's crazy.
turn in the first one.
And
They wanted an accessible van. They've been
They
saying
want-
for a
oh,
couple
so
of years.
what they have is not an accessible
They
van.
want
Correct.
handicap accessible, but however, the
And it was
amount they-
55,000, wasn't it?
We paid 55 for what we have. They have 30 in, that they've written on their sheet, where they think they're gonna get a van for 30 grand. It's handicap accessible, it's beyond me.
So we are putting it in as 55, even though they're requesting 30?
That's what we paid for the last one, so it's an amount of money.
They're not gonna turn in the old one?
Yes, they are.
Okay.
It's gonna be written as such.
Okay.
At least that's what I understand at this point in time.
Okay.
So they wanna get a check on
Must be Board of Selectmen.
Why is 27 a warrant article? The resource officer?
Because Silver Lake wants us to pay for that directly up front, from what I heard.
Kingston's been paying the whole thing,
Mhm.
Oh,
so they wanna split the costs.
between the three towns?
Yes.
So does that
Why-
represent,
then why is
does
it-
that represent 11% or whatever our percentage is? Well, it can't be right.
No, it's a lot of money. Can I ask a crazy question? If they want the three towns to split it,
Why isn't it in the
then why
budget?
isn't it in the regional budget and we're paying our proportionate share of the regional budget?
Good question.
That's an excellent question.
Because when I went in and walked into that meeting before, I wasn't there enough to hear
Isn't,
the
it's,
whole
it's
thing.
new though, right? Is it,
It's
It
it's
is.
been there. They've had an officer there
had
for
it,
the
but it-
in
past
the
couple
high school,
of
but not in the
years.
middle school, right? I thought that's what I read.
I don't know.
I'm not sure. I
'Cause
just read
didn't-
some.
I
I
wasn't
skimmed
in
it,
the-
yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't read it thoroughly, obviously.
Yeah.
And I didn't have anything to read, I was just listening to what they were talking about.
I thought it
not
was, there was
understanding.
something, they've had it at the high school, but not full-time at the middle school, and they wanna make it full-time or something
So
like that.
why does it have to be a warrant article?
That I don't know.
Okay.
That I don't know.
Okay, should we talk about what can come out of capital? How much we want, do we have a number that
I
we
didn't- I didn't
we're shooting
realize
for
it.
capital?
Well, if we use that full 659 or 660 basically, and we put that over here, you know, we're 500.
No, not 500, because we have the 270 up there.
Okay, so we're still.
Right, so something has to come out of capital.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. But now some of that, you know, if we approve the command vehicle, you're looking at, you know,
Well,
16,000
probably
instead of
16 for each of them, so 32,000 between that,
right. So
from capital.
so that
Well,
would say
should that be changed now, so we have better
yeah, okay.
view of the
We
numbers?
can do that. What do you want to do? Divide by 4, Barb? Is that kind of what you do?
Yeah, plus I don't know what they'd charge for fees or whatnot, so,
All right. We'll add $1,000.
yeah, that's safer. Yeah, that's fine. That's
What about the
35,000.
van? Can that be a lease?
Could the van be one as
I
well?
don't know. I don't know why not.
I think it definitely could be.
Well, I don't know why not. I just don't know if they
Need it?
don't. Don't put me in that spot, Nate.
Well, I can understand if it's a new, if they need handicap accessible,
Right,
yeah.
then I can understand
Yeah.
them need, I don't,
I
you know.
would say probably,
And they're
yeah,
gonna
why
turn the
not?
old one
Is
in.
that-
So, but that's not a reasonable number, is it?
No, it isn't.
The 55s now?
No.
So it's
I
gonna
think
be an
so.
equipped vehicle, just like the others.
I'd say it's probably closer to 80 if you want to try. So
Make it 20 maybe.
make it 20 maybe, for 4 years, please. So if you took the 35
How
and.
about 609, is that the right, is that the
That
total?
says 609.
Okay.
Yeah, the other amount is the 57
This comes from
above.
up, yeah, that's, so that's.
No, I know, but the 609 is right? I
Yeah.
thought it kept
Yep.
saying 609 no matter what numbers we're changing.
No, we were 690 something before.
Okay.
Although that
That's
does say
716.
716, all right, so wait a minute. Should be right. Ah, look at that. It's magic.
I knew it wasn't changing.
Yeah, because you
Or
haven't taken
changing
anything out of
preferably.
there.
Okay.
So did we say we do have a number of capital money that we're looking to spend not more than?
Well, we have the amount that was on the forecast sheet that was raised, and I forget what that one is, to be honest. I'm sorry, I just
No,
didn't
that's
bring
okay,
those
no,
in,
that's
because I
fine, we
wasn't,
can
I
wait
didn't get a
until
note
next
for
meeting, I
sure.
just-
The other thing, can I bring up a suggestion?
Of course.
I may get thrown right out of the room, if you wanna go back to the warrant articles. The $280,000 for the metal storage building.
Mm-hmm.
We have an article, we have $60,000 in the sale of town property that we received for the sale of the fire truck or whatever we sold.
That's already been spent, hasn't it?
No, it can't be spent without.
But I mean, it's already
town
been, yeah, I understand that, I'm sorry, it's already been allocated a couple of times.
I don't see anything in here that it's
Is it up there
allocated
in
for.
special town meeting?
Yeah,
No,
isn't that what you
Not
had
right.
this stuff up here for?
no,
But,
no.
okay.
And what's gone through my mind a couple of times to make it a little easier is if we did that 280 to put the 60,000 to that. It's a sale of a piece of equipment that's for the same department. It'll reduce the 280 to 220. And then as a source of revenue for the 220, so we don't have to borrow or bond or anything else. How would this committee feel about?
This 25 was supposed to come out of that 60. That was what the 60 was
I was
supposed.
not told that was gonna happen.
Oh, well, that was what we were told. Was that was
Let's go with the
that
other
was
one.
how we were paying for the exhaust system, was out of the 60 that
How would you
came
do
out.
that?
Well, we have to do some sort of, accounting paperwork, but
I
Because
don't know if
that
you
money would
could
just go
do
to free
that.
cash anyway, if we don't end up spending more than is needed. Like if we don't spend more than the 27,000.
I understand that, but
Can I just expel
Sure.
what I'd like to say for the
Yep.
other, and then you can think about it, and then we can talk about possible other sources of revenue for that one. The one thing we have not touched in years is the general stabilization account. We have reached basically almost the cap of what we can put in there, because you can only put so much of a percentage in based on what the levy is. If we took the other 200, we've got over $900,000 in that account, in addition to the capital stabilization account. If we took the 220 out of that, next year we'd be raising another 100,000 of it back the other way with the capital and general stabilization, would be putting it back in the fund, and we would have put it back in a year or two. We won't lose as much as interest as we would pay interest on the other end. And it's a good source of the fund. It's a good use of the fund. It falls in under a capital item. Everything falls in place for law
Well,
of
general
ge-
stabilization is not only for capital items.
No, general stabilization can be used for other,
anything.
but we have not touched it since we went with this whole system with system, of taking the percentages and whatnot.
What is the benefit of taking it from that fund as opposed to just taking it from the capital stabilization
There
fund?
won't be anything left in capital stabilization if you do that. We only have 450,000, and remember, we need 270 to pay for the bond for the police station also. This year, I think it's 470 to 500,000.
So that's kind of what I was asking, how much was
Yeah.
in that fund, and I
I
kept saying.
can't remember what's in the stabilization off the top of my head. The capital stabilization that we're putting in
Okay.
this year. I haven't got the
I
paper
know
with
it's
me.
partly old school and just what's been drummed into my head, but I have a really hard time saying let's spend money out of the stabilization fund, the general stabilization fund. It's supposed to be for an emergency, for when something, the roof falls in the fire station, you've got to replace it.
In the station,
is.
we've got a warranty.
It is falling in. We have no room over there in a sense and whatnot.
I don't know, I mean, that's just that's my first gut. I'm always willing to listen and change my mind.
we're only talking about 220,000. There's over 900,000 in there.
I know.
So we'd still have well over $500,000 in there.
And what percentage goes into that each year?
Into
Like-
the general stabilization?
Yeah.
It's 2% of the value or whatnot, and then that's reduced off the 35% of the whole thing.
And
It's a
that's
crazy
up to a
part.
certain amount.
Yeah.
So at
Yeah.
some point, we would be putting no more money in
Yeah,
that account.
right now, I think the way it was figured, we'd only be putting like 35,000 back in, where next year, if we use the 220, we can go back to the max again till in the following year, and then we'll be right back up where we are now. The only other thing we could probably do, I don't believe there's enough there to do that in the road work and everything else that we have to do in the police station. We're gonna have to bond it. And then we're gonna have to pay interest and principal on it, and do it again that way. That was just my suggestion. I've never suggested that, but I thought it might be a good use of it for the time being, particularly if they're gonna put that somewhere else and not here, beside the station, the way it was discussed when we had our tour as a group. If it's going somewhere else and they're just gonna use it for storage off-site, then I don't think we should.
Why has there been some talk now about not putting it there?
There's a couple of different stories floating around that I've heard in the last week.
Yeah.
Well,
Heard.
I'm still not convinced that it's necessarily a good spend. I'm still waiting to hear from somebody that has some sort of credentials that it's a viable, spend of $280,000. I want, an architect, or I want some sort of a structural engineer report, and we requested that from the fire department. We haven't seen it yet. So right now, I don't care where the money's coming from, because I'm not voting for it right now. Doesn't mean I wouldn't get completely tarred and feathered at town meeting, but I mean, I just think that's a lot of money to just spend on a whim.
And has anyone contacted him again and told him that we need this if we're
He
gonna have to get,
assured
if he's
us
gonna
that
get
night
back?
he would get us something. He said
Yeah.
absolutely he would get us something. But apparently it's been changed since
Well,
that
the
meeting.
one I heard the end of last week was a whole different thing. and
Well, it's
my
described
head
in
was
here
just-
as police,
Yeah,
fire, and highway, which is news to us.
which
so,
is what
Right.
basically I heard last week.
yeah. So
So, then it's up to you as a committee to go where you want. Then if you want to use the 60.
I mean, I'm still
the 60 for the repair.
and again, that's the way it was presented to
understand.
us.
I feel like we need to send an email or something to him and tell him that, different stories are coming up, and if you want support from Finance Committee for this article, we need to know what we're supporting.
Well, it's a different article, I don't know who's supporting it right now. Because his was obviously to have the building
Right.
next door.
So where are they
So
proposing to
who's
build it?
changing it? Him or the
I don't
Board of
know.
Selectmen?
Board of
One,
Selectmen, I think.
I heard the transfer station property, and then I was told, then they said, no, you couldn't do it up there because there isn't room and you can't place it there for whatever reason.
So
for the
where,
fill.
where
So
are they
then somebody
thinking?
said Center Street. I don't know where it's anymore.
There is a building on
How would
Center
that help our
Street.
fire
that we-
response time to have the equipment off-site?
That's right, that was one of the
Right.
things the fire
I
chief was
agree.
concerned
Yeah,
about, was
that's-
not having his equipment
I can't,
here.
yeah.
And there wasn't room enough in this
Yeah.
building over
Right.
here for everything we got.
Right,
That's
so
why
it
he
sounds
wanted
pretty
the
mixed
addition.
up.
Yeah.
It's,
At
from
this
what I
point.
heard, it changed quickly last week.
Okay, all right, well,
Okay, well then I don't feel like I need to worry about it so much either.
yeah, I don't, I mean,
because-
Well, I didn't realize they had changed the article
Yeah.
too.
I didn't either until
see
this
it.
afternoon when I saw the warrant, so. Okay. I will follow up with Liz and with Chief Silva then and just try to get a better explanation on what that entails. And-
Yeah,
and
maybe
we'll-
it's not even chief at this point, maybe it's.
Right, well, the article,
Maybe it's
the
Liz.
article
He's the
references
chairman
fire,
of the
police,
board of
and highway,
selectmen.
so.
Highway has a Cisco trailer up at the transfer station that they use for something.
Are there any other specific items that we have questions about that we should follow up on, or would, I mean, that's obviously the biggest one, so that's probably where we need to start getting information.
We say that road construction's probably not even gonna be 200,
No, we had it as 250 and they knocked it down to 200.
so between that and if we were just to take that and the police station from capital, that's all the money
And
there
the
is.
48,000 for the leases.
Is there that much? Is there 520? That's 470
Yeah,
and
470.
450
I
is
have to go
520.
back and look at the forecast sheet, I'm sorry, I
No,
didn't do
that's,
that
no, that's
today.
okay. But that's, I mean,
That would
so we
wipe
may
it
not
out.
even be able to put that much into the highway, into
Yeah,
roads.
yes, yeah. Or find it, or use free cash, or
Well, and
free
again,
capital.
I mean, technically
source.
29, the 15,000 for the fire PPE was coming out of our capital plan as well. I mean, that was what we had been budgeting along as part of our 5-year plan. And if it's not there, then it's not there.
But I don't remember how much I put on capital on the bottom of the forecast sheet is to be using it this year, so
No,
I have
yeah,
to go back, and I apologize, I didn't have,
it's okay.
Liz just had said today, you come into the FinCom meeting tonight, and I had set Nate to quit, no.
That Nate saw it, 5:15.
But she showed up anyway.
Right, exactly.
But I'll look in the morning.
The other thing
and
to
I'll
keep
send
in
you
mind,
and-
we have several articles from the fire department, and he said right off the beginning that it was his Christmas list.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't mean we have to approve them all.
Right,
So,
or part of them.
right. So I think, there may be, we may be able to shave a few $1,000s here and there if we are judicious. And I think, we want to follow up on the school resource officer to find out why it has to be an article. Okay.
And,
The van?
no, the Atwood,
Oh, yeah.
You only need to-
there's no number in here, so we put that 30 in as a guess, I think.
Mm-hmm. Well, and the description's kind of vague, too.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Everything else is, I think, pretty, is what it is, straightforward.
And
Oh,
fiber optic cabling, do you guys, what is that?
well, it's an effort to improve service, but it's also an effort to decrease
The Verizon and
The-
Comcast.
the
bills.
Comcast, right?
Comcast bills, yes.
So
There's
you'll
some
be
kind
going
of a
through
fiber
through Verizon,
No.
No.
who does it?
No, it's a
Somebody
different
else?
company, and it
It's-
runs through up the hill and through the center of town here, and that's the only place it goes. And they're saying that it will cost the town a lot less to run the buildings and whatnot.
It would be
was
more
everything.
reliable.
And, yeah,
Right, we would have phone service during a power outage, for example. that we don't currently, because when we lose Comcast, we lose the phones. But with fiber optics, you would still have phone during an emergency. So that's obviously important.
And there's something written up
So
from
this
the
is,
company or something
I
about
think-
costs?
I think-
Pat's been researching it,
Okay.
and whatnot, the police chief.
Yeah. So this is just the initial setup fees. Then obviously the rest of it would come out of the
Well,
utility bill.
budgetary-
Yeah.
Utility
Yeah.
budget.
Yeah.
I have FiOS, but it's because they came in here and they wired Brick Street, about to Upland Road, and then they ran off the next way.
But it wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't Verizon though.
No, it's
for this
not. It's
for
a
this
different
campus, it was
company.
somebody else.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess we have some questions that I'll follow up on, and then does the 4th work for everybody, or whatever that day was? Was it
8th.
April
Excuse
8th.
me.
I
The
put it
8th?
in my calendar.
Is that okay for everybody?
Yep.
A week, 2 weeks,
I will be here that night too.
5:30.
Thank you.
and then we'll probably have to meet. I would think a week to 10 days after that to kind of finalize everything.
Just let me know
Yep.
if you need me, and I'll come. I'll
Yep.
have no problem.
Yep. Okay.
The 8th, I have to be there. for
Any?
Just
something
so
else
we know,
also.
the 15th is a holiday,
Yes.
so it's the week after.
So it would have to be that week after,
Wednesday.
right?
That the school
Well, we could meet.
vacation
Yeah, we could
week.
meet Wednesday the 17th,
Yeah,
if we had to.
yeah, I can too.
When did she say the warrant was going to be signed? Was it the
22nd,
22nd? Okay.
I think she said the 22nd.
5:30?
The 15th and the 22nd would make sense. The 15th for the Monday holiday,
yeah.
and the 22nd is the
Yeah.
following Monday.
But I'm just wondering if, well, I guess we can't do anything until we get it to the,
Maryland 5:30.
until we get the
At
approval from the
5:30,
Board of
yeah.
Selectmen. I was trying to
5:30,
think of
correct.
printing. Yes, 5:30, yes. Okay, any other items that we need to discuss? If not, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
Second? Anyone? Catherine? Lisa?
Lisa's
Anybody?
been seconding, I'll second.
All right,
doesn't matter.
cool. Anybody? All in favor?
I think
Aye.
we'll
All right, see you in a
back
couple
and forth.
weeks. Thank you.